Hi everyone, it's Nat here. Hope you're all doing well. I'm participating in the collaboration which is hashtag JJII Out With A Bang. It's a summer themed collaboration that's being hosted by Mandy, who is Sunflowers and Doors, and Julie, who is Julie's Papercraft on YouTube. Now, it's also in conjunction with the Junk Journals Ideas and Inspiration Facebook group. So all the links will be down below to the Facebook group and also to where you can go to get the beautiful kits that I'm going to be using for this collaboration. Both Julie and Mandy have produced a kit for this, and they're based on the August flowers, the flowers for the month. So there's gladioli kit from Julie and a poppy kit, or a couple of poppy kits from Mandy, and they're both beautiful. So you can head over and grab them if you'd like to use them. They are 50% off for the month of August, but you don't have to use the kits to get involved. You can use whatever you like, whatever you've got at hand. So get involved, craft along with us. There are wonderful creators putting out a video every day for the month of August. Most days there's 2 people putting out videos, so stacks and stacks of inspiration to get crafting. So if you do make anything and you put it up on social media, do remember to add the hashtag JJII Out With A Bang. So I'll give you a quick flick through of the papers that I've printed out. Now, I didn't print them all out because they're huge kits, but it's awesome. It gives you a lot of options of what pieces you might like to use. I'm only doing small projects, so I'm sure I won't use all of these, but it means I'll have a stack left over to use for personal projects. These first papers are from the gladioli kit, which is Julie's kit. Now, I printed them on photomat paper, but they're in a normal print. So it's dulling down the colours a bit, but I really like the way these have come out like that. So there's this page of postcards. And this beautiful page. So there's a stack of ephemera and there's a stack of pages as well. There'll also be links to Julie's and Mandy's YouTube if you want to go over and see their videos. And I've also put a list down below of all the collaborators and their days with a link to their YouTubes. So you can head over and check them all out. So go back and check any that you have missed. These lovely butterflies and stamps. Some huge tags. Another page. So they're the pages I've printed out from my project of Julie's, and then Mandy's kit. I think I printed mainly from her poppies kit. She does have a grungy poppies kit as well if you're interested in that one. Now these are printed in photomat settings, so they're a bit more vibrant, but I liked that for the poppies. And again, I've just printed a couple of pages, but there are stacks of ephemera pages and whole journal pages as well. So heaps to choose from. And that's what I love with digitals, is you can get the kit and then just print out the pages that you need. You don't have to print them all out, or if you want to make a huge project, you can print out heaps of them. So it's very handy. But yeah, I love these with the embellishments. And I have been saving bits and pieces for a poppy journal in the future. So all the bits that are left over from these, because I definitely won't use them all today, will go towards that. Love these frames. So yes, I've got a few options there of what I might like to use. So I've got my envelope and I'm putting it into the 8-inch mark and cutting off below the window there. And then putting it in at the 5-inch mark and cutting off the little end bit. So that leaves us with a 5-inch flip out for my side pocket. And then the offcut down the bottom will be for my top flip pocket. So of course I'm inking for the gladiola kit. I'm inking with, I think it's mustard seed, so it's quite a bright yellow. I've got the first page from the kit that I want to use, and I want to use that beautiful picture of the flowers. So I'm just taking some of my edges off. I'll be using this to create a window in for my envelope. So I have a template there of the front of the envelope where I have pulled off the plastic. So I can trace within that window shape onto my digital. Then I just slice down in it. That makes it a lot easier to rip around. And then I'm ripping around within the lines. If you rip outside the lines, you're going to see your envelope when you try and cover it over. I also measured the size I wanted this piece by putting it up against the envelope and making some marks. So I've just ripped off the edges to make it the right size to cover the envelope front with. So now we've ripped that window out. I'm just checking that it's going to fit okay. Making some minor adjustments. I don't want it the exact size of the envelope. I'm just making it a slight bit shorter around the edges so you can see the nice yellow ink. Since it's a summer collaboration, I thought I'd make it nice and colourful and summery. So of course you want to ink in your window before you stick it down. So I ink that and the outside of my digital. I'm just using my walnut stone distress ink for this. I go around the yellow edges as well because they are very bright. So just to make it a little more vintage and dull it down a little bit, I use the brown over the top. I think that looks really nice. So I just apply the glue around the entire piece and stick that down to the front of our side envelope flip. So I did make some envelope flips for a recent project and I really enjoyed making them. So I thought I'd come on and make a side flip and a top flip. I think I'll mass make a whole heap of these in the future because they'll be great to put into journals. So again, I'm just measuring the piece that I want to cover by putting the envelope on top and making some marks and then just ripping the piece out. So this is going to go inside the pocket that we're making and it will show out the window. I'm making it the full size of that back piece though, just so it's nice and smooth when I want to fit my journal card in. So you can see the beautiful colours of the gladioli through the window. So when you take out your journal card, there's still something pretty in the background there. So I'm not bothering inking this because we won't be seeing most of the edges. So I'm grabbing this large tag. Really like the colour of the flowers on that. And I think that will look nice to cover the back side of my flip there. So again, just measuring it up against the envelope to get the size I want. It doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing I ever make is perfect, that's for sure. So again, just inking with the yellow around the envelope. I take it in a little bit more just when you stick your digital on top, sometimes there's white marks if you just ink the edges, so I thought I'd take it in a bit more to account for that. And then inking around the digital with the brown. And then I can stick that piece down. So that's the front and back and the inside covered a bit. So I'm using a bit of old book page just to cover underneath that flap there because it's a little bit sticky. We will be making a tuck spot out of that and we don't want the stickiness to affect our journal card when we slip it in and out. So just stick the book page down and that helps. You could use an offcut of your digital or whatever. I just find the book page is nice and thin and sticks really well. I am inking that inside piece there. When we stick our flip to the page, we'll see bits of that hinge piece there. So now I've got a plainer piece of the digital that I just want to slip inside my pocket a little bit and cover the background. Make it a bit longer than needed, just so it'll be nice and smooth to slip whatever I decide to put in the pockets in and out. You just don't want to make it so long that you can see it through your window. It's a lot easier to do all of this with your little flip open like that. Now we will just apply glue to both the sides of our little tuck spot and fold that down. We can also close our actual pocket there as well. So again, I will just be applying the glue to the inside two sides there and closing that up. This is the page with the postcards on it, and I have printed it out just a little bit smaller so that the postcard will fit nicely into my big pocket. I've got an offcut of the plainer page of the digital, and I'm adhering it to that to give it a background. Makes it nice and sturdy, and it'll be a nice background to write on as well. So I'll just let that dry for a bit. Then I thought I would pick a couple of butterflies to use for some decoration on the front, so I just want to cut them out. Not sure which, I want to layer them, but I'm not sure which small butterfly I want. So I cut 3 different ones out just to see what the colours are like. Now my postcard should be dry enough to fussy cut. Check that it fits in my pocket. I've got this botanical page, and it does have the name of a gladiola on there, so I am going to rip that out, and I'm going to add that to the back of my postcard there, and that's what will show through the window on the front. I was going to put another flower in there or something, but I thought it's already so nice with the flowers there. I don't want to take away from that, so I thought something a bit plainer would be nice showing through there, and I really like the idea of having the name of the flower. So there's still enough room to do some journaling on that side of the postcard. I'm just sort of lining it up underneath the envelope there so I can see where I need to place the words so it shows through the window. Doing a little corner round. So now we will get to fussy cutting out our butterflies. So put them to the side and rip out one of the stamps from the embellishment sheet. I want to add that to the front of our postcard. I've also got one of my own stamps with a floral on it that I want to add. I think the colours are really nice and vibrant and it will look good. I'm going to layer them up on the front of my postcard. So now back to our butterflies. Finally figured out which one I want on top. So I need to ink around both of those. I've found this other tag, and I think that will be really nice slipped in as a journaling card. And then you've got the plainer tag there too, so I thought that will make a nice background for our journal card. So I want to layer those together. And we need a journal card to slip in our little tuck spot there. Don't worry, I will get back to the butterfly later. A bit all over the place, but that's how I roll. So just figuring out how wide and long I want my journal card to fit into my little tuck spot. And a bit of a corner round on that as well. Now I have the description of the gladiola that came from the page that the title was on, and I thought it'd be nice to add that to our journal card. And I have another one of the little butterflies that I cut out rather than waste it. I thought it can go on this for a bit of embellishment. I'm also going to grab another one of the stamps. So I've got a serrated edge ruler there, and I'm just using that to rip around the stamps. It makes a bit of a mess, but it does give a bit of that texture. I suppose sometimes when you rip your stamps apart, they don't come apart cleanly anyway. So then I put that to the side, and I've got some words here. I think I put it to the side because I keep forgetting that I've got a prompt for this. And the prompt is a work in progress. So I thought I better add these while I remembered, because if I forget it will be a disaster. So, so I'm using my Dymo labeler there. It's an old one to get the prompts out. The label backing is green, but that's all right. I think that actually goes quite nice. I have another Dymo thing here that I got cheap, and it doesn't function very well. I tried using it, but you write nearly the whole sentence and then it doesn't sort of print one of the letters, and then you've got to start again. So I thought I'd just use this old green one because it works well. So I've just hunted out a stamen. I have a pile of stamens here that I've got through either Marketplace or the second-hand shops. And I'm going to fold one of them and use it as the antenna for our butterfly. So I want to layer it in between my butterfly layers. I'm just trying to figure out how long I need the pieces and decide that it's best to cut it off so I can cut them down a bit shorter. So I grab my fabric glue. I think that will give us a nice globule of glue to adhere the antenna on with. Need to stick it on a bit of an angle and make it sort of fit underneath this little butterfly. So I crisscross them over each other. Then I can stick the small butterfly on top of the big one. Found this really vibrant sari silk. I don't use my sari silk enough. And I thought it would go really nicely with the beautiful colours on our flowers today. Something a bit different. So I've just ripped off a little strip to stick on the bottom of the front of our flip. I decided to stamp a postmark stamp onto the front of our journal card. and it does need a tab to make it a bit easier to get in and out of its pocket. So I've just cut a tab out of the plainer digital piece there, a bit of the scrap. To add some interest to that, I'm just stamping that with the postmark stamp as well. Had a little offcut of the sari silk in front of me, so I thought I would just stick that on there. Use it up. So I just stick the front side down first to make sure I've got it placed where I want it. Then glue all over the back of it and stick that down. So I'm just letting that dry a bit while I get on with this journal card. So this is the description of the flower that I'm putting on. And I'll just slip the stamp down underneath that a little bit. And then our butterfly. So I'm keeping it quite flat, this, because it does need to slip in and out our little tuck spot. Now I can put the postcard in and slip a little journal card in. Then I decide to cover a little flat bit there on the tuck spot with some of the sari silk. Really add some beautiful colour to this. Just rough it up a little bit, don't want it looking too neat. I wanted to see how my word fits in the window there, so I know how to place my butterfly. Then we can start putting our words on. So even though it is quite sticky already, I still add some glue so that they don't come back up. Decide just to grab some of the plain digital offcut just to cover the flat bit that will be on the other side of the page when we stick our envelope flip into a journal. I was going to leave it plain and then decorate it when I put it in the journal because I wasn't sure how I would attach it. But then I thought, no, I think it'll look quite nice with a bit of the digital on there, and then when I attach it to the page I can always add another butterfly or something and make a little cluster embellishment with it. And that's pretty well that one done. Now we're on to our top flip that we're doing. I'm just cutting that one edge that was closed off and just pulling off the little piece on the inside there that's a bit loose. And I want to use one of these gorgeous frames, and that will go on the front. So I am adhering that to some craft cardstock just to make it a lot more sturdy. And we'll let that dry really well because I want to cut the window out. So I'm looking for a piece that I can slip in as a journal card in the window, and we'll stick one of the embellishments on that so that it shows through the window. I like the contrast of that darker green piece. I jumped at the chance to be in this collaboration because I love botanicals. They're so much fun to work with. So now I want to back my little journal card piece onto a plainer piece of the kit. Again, just to give us some writing space. Now we need a background to stick our frame onto. So there's this pocket in the kit and I'm just using a part of that. So I can stick the background down first. You can see a postmark stamp on the envelope. I was just testing out my stamp. So now I'm using my knife just to cut the window out carefully. Then I just turn it over so I can see which corners need a bit of extra coaxing to come out. The journal card's nice and dry now, so I just trim that down. So we want to slip the journal card behind our frame there. So I want to lift the frame up from the front of the envelope. So I'm just figuring out how I'm going to do that. So I put the journal card on the back of it there and then trace around it so I know how much room it needs to slip underneath. And I'm using some offcut of my craft card stock and I'm just cutting some strips. I was going to do just one strip around the inside of the frame, but I don't think it's thick enough for how thick the journal card is, so I'm sticking 2 strips together for each 3 sides of the frame that I want to put them on. And once they're put together, I can apply the glue to them and stick them on the bottom and the 2 sides of the back of the frame. And that should give us enough room to slip our journal card in and out. So I made one of these top flip pockets in my envelope booklet that I did recently. This one's a little different though, having the frame on the front and the extra journal card. So again, make sure to ink around the inside of the window and the outside of the frame as well. And then to stick that down, I just applied the glue to the strips that we stuck to the back of the frame. Then we check if the journal card slips in. If it doesn't, you can just trim your journal card a little bit. So I chose the jar with the poppy and the little one. That seems to fit really nice in that window. Now I've also grabbed one of the little label pieces and the word poppy. I thought that would be a nice addition to the front of my envelope flip as well. Just cutting the word down so it fits nicely onto the label. So I stick the label onto some craft cardstock to make it nice and sturdy. I meant to do that before I trimmed the edges off, but I always forget something. So now ink around my word just to highlight it a bit more before I stick it down. And then I decide to grab some red sari silk here. Again, it's really nice and vibrant, and I think it goes with the poppies really nicely and the summer theme. So I just want to layer my words on top of the sari silk. So I want to make a little dangle out of this. So just use my tiny little corner round shape to go around the edges of that. Got a little hole punch here, and I'm just punching a hole in the corner of the journal card and then the end of my little label as well. And I can attach those two pieces together. First, we better stick on our embellishment. Just using another little strip of sari silk to tie together those two pieces. Might have to double knot that after because it does come undone quite easy. It's so slippery. So you can see the journal card fits in. We can see our little picture through the window, and the dangle adds a really nice touch to that. So another little strip of sari silk down the bottom. I've grabbed this smaller tag, and I love the poppies on this and the colour of it. So I'm going to use that to cover the underneath bit of a pocket there. When we flip it up, we will be seeing that. So we want to put it up the way I've got it. I'm not putting it on upside down, don't worry. Although I'm sure I nearly did that. Doesn't have to be right down to the bottom of that piece because we'll be making a tuck spot with the flap there, but long enough that we won't see the envelope. So again, a bit of old book page on that underneath flap that's a bit sticky. And I love these numbers, and I think they will look awesome on the flap for a little tuck spot there. So I'm just ripping them down so that they fit okay. There are these two squares on one of the embellishment pages, so I'm keeping them together, just cutting off the ends and the edges there, and then I can fold them together and it'll make a little journal card that's already backed that way. Thought that would be the easier way to do it. And then I remember to stick my words down, or else I will forget. So I've got those ones for the underneath. When you flip it up, you'll be able to see those. Then back to what we're meant to be doing. I just add, this is the inside that's going to be the big pocket, so I add a bit of book page to the inside there just in case we see that when we're slipping things in and out. We want to cover the other side of the inside there. It's a nice grungy piece there. Then we can stick our pocket together. So I want to use this tag to slip in our big pocket, so I'm backing that onto the craft cardstock again. It'll need to be quite sturdy to be able to sort of shove it up in that pocket because it is quite tight. There's a little journal card. And I'm just cutting out one of the embellishment pieces to put on top of the little journal card. And I've also cut out the word Californian poppy out of my botanical book there to put on there. It's another one of the embellishment pieces, a bit like a little doily or something, so I thought that would be nice to stick on. Adds a bit of texture. Well, the look of texture, I should say. And I decide to stick the bit that we cut off on there as well. And I'm ready to add the embellishment piece, which is, I think it's the basket full of poppies. It's very sweet, that. Then a little word, just to finish it off. Or words, I should say. There are 2 words in Californian poppy nat. So another strip of my sari silk, and I have put a little hole up in the top corner there that I can tie it through. Makes a beautiful little journal card to slip in the tuck spot. Now we need to finish off our tag. It's not fitting in too well, so I just snip off some of the edges to make it a bit narrower. It fits a lot better. Then I have to slip off some of the bottom as well, and it fits in there perfectly. I have the picture of the poppy on the botanical page, so I thought I'd just rip that out and add it to the back of our tag there for a bit of interest. Very thin book page, so it's not going to add too much bulk. Then the offcut of sari silk, and I'll just tack that down with my glue and then staple that on, I think. Just bash the underside of the staples in a bit so that they're not too bulky and don't scratch up my digital when I'm slipping the tag in and out. So now I just need a little strip to cover the top there. I will be leaving the underside of this flap plain envelope because that will be getting stuck down to the book when I create the top flip in a journal. So I'm all finished now, and these are the 2 projects that I have created for the collaboration, which is hashtag JJII out with a bang. So I used Julie's Gladioli kit to do this envelope flip out, and then I used Mandy's Poppy kit to do this flip up. And I love the way they turned out, and I had so much fun making these. So a massive thank you to Mandy and Julie for inviting me and for giving us the beautiful kits to work with for the month. So if you're interested in grabbing the kits, they're available in Julie's Etsy and Ko-fi, her gladioli kit, and Mandy's Etsy has her poppy kit, and they'll be linked down below if you want to go and check them out. There's also a list and links to all the collaborators for the month, so you can see all of their videos and get some inspiration. So I made 2 envelope flips with the business envelopes that I have here. So the first one I made was this one, and I thought I'd show you how I'm going to use that. So I've got a little journal here that we can put this one in. So this is just a little journal that I stick all sorts of random things in. It's almost like an idea journal now. So if we find a nice page to put it on, there we go, that'll be a nice one. That'll go nicely there. So what I would do is stick it over the page like that so we can flip it open. So I'll just turn it over this side so we can do that. Open this up and add some glue. You could even glue this down so it's a tuck spot, but I'm going to glue the whole lot down because the envelope over the other side is quite heavy. So because I've embellished this side, what I'd probably do is add a butterfly and other embellishments to that and just making a nice page decoration on that side, which looks quite nice as it is, really. And then we've got a flip on this side. It's got a beautiful butterfly there with the stamen. So my prompt was a work in progress, and when I saw the prompt I was lost. My first initial thought was to just not finish my creation. And then the second thought was, well, life's a work in progress. It always feels that way anyway. So I thought I'd work with that and the beautiful florals. So it's life is a work in progress. And then if you take this journal card out, we have always attempting to bloom. So yeah, I think we're always attempting to do better, go further, that sort of thing in life. Now, I wish I'd put these words down a little bit more so they were hidden nicely under this journal card. I think that would have looked a bit better. So we've got our window at the front there, and I have the name of a gladioli there that I got out of a book that shows through the window. And I've used a bit of sari silk in my projects as well, just to add some colour. Got our journal card there, which has the information about gladioli. And I've used some of the stamps from the embellishments and the butterflies, and I've backed it with more of the kit page. So I love the pictures, they look so pretty. Very nice and summery and bright, so I thought I would go with that. So you can take the postcard out of the pocket, and that has the name on the other side that we saw through the window. So still some writing space there, bit of a tab. And yeah, I used one of the postcards. I did shrink it a little bit just so that it would fit in my envelope pocket nicely. I've got one of my own personal stamps there on top of one of the embellishment stamps. So that just slips in there. Like that. And we flip it over and see the name there. So that's how I'll be using it. Now with the red one that I made, I won't put it in this journal, but that one would sit over the top of a page. Like, if I can get it over the top of the page, like that. And we'd stick it down in the same manner at the back there. Or you can stick it down on the page like that as well and flip it up. But if you did that, you'd have to embellish or cover this piece as well. So I've left that blank because I will stick it down over that side of the page. So both of these you can make out of the one envelope. Just chop the bit off of the side pocket, and then you've got the leftover bit for this top flip pocket. So again, I've put the words "Life is a Work in Progress" on that. Use some sari silk, the word poppies, and one of the little tag pieces or label piece from the embellishments. I've just tied that on with more sari silk. So the window allows us to see the tag underneath. You can take that out and journal on the back. And that just slips in like that. And that would flip up like that. And then, so the saying is life is a work in progress, always growing on that one. I thought the always growing and always attempting to bloom went really well with the flower theme. And then I created this little tag or journal card with embellishment pieces and a word out of my plant book for the Californian poppy. That can be written on. Yeah, that's a bit better. Beautiful pictures. It's so nice and colourful. I really love this, and I am collecting for a poppy journal, so this I'm keeping for that when I make it. And then you can pull the tag out. So that's one of the tags from the kit. I just cut it down a little bit so it fit in, and I backed some of the pieces just onto craft cardstock. There's the poppy that was in the plant book that I had. Just ripped that out and stuck it on the back of the tag, and that just slips up in there. So they're quite simple. I take forever to make anything, but otherwise they are quite simple to whip up these. And if you don't have kits that you can use, you can just use your book pictures and pages to cover your envelopes. But it's a great way of using envelopes to make a number of different pockets to put in your journals. So that was a lot of fun. So yeah, do go and check out the rest of the collaborators and go and have a look at the kits. Heaps of fun month. I'm looking forward to seeing what everyone else makes. So be good, behave yourselves, and I will see you again soon. Bye.